It's the beginning of the school year, and some of you are excited. You've had a restful summer and you are ready to go in the classroom. And if you are a principal, you're like, let's go, professional development. Let's just throw it all at the teachers at once. Well, I do hope that you don't do that and you give teachers time to prep. Teachers, there is some time though in the beginning of the school year where you might need some front loading a little bit, even though if you're overwhelmed. And remember, you don't have to take it all in at once. But in this video, we're going to talk about generative AI and how you can use it to support student learning, and specifically from the beginning of the school year, supportive relationships. What does the science of learning say about supportive relationships? And how can I integrate generative AI to help me with some ideas on how to create a supportive environment at the beginning of the school year? Students do not learn unless they feel safe, unless those basic needs are met. Students have to feel like they belong in the classroom. I mean, they can ask you a question, they feel like you like them, they feel like that there is a place of benevolence in the classroom, and they also have to have a self-worth. Sometimes students come to school and they don't feel like they have any worth at all. And some students, the only place they feel like they are worthy is in the classroom. So you have a lot of power, teachers, on how students learn and the outcome of their belief system, meaning they believe that they can actually do something to take care of the world. And that last thing is the self-actualization. They have a perception and an interest in what it is they want to learn and how they can learn in your classroom. Students need to believe that they can learn. Their basic needs are met. They have a safety in the classroom where they know that they're safe. They can ask a question. They feel like they belong. They have a self-worth and they can self-actualize, meaning, yes, I can do this. I am integrating generative AI with the science of learning from the supporting relationships in the classroom, like supporting the student from a behavior perspective so they feel welcomed in the classroom. So here's the question I'm going to pose to generative AI, ChatGPT. Based on the science of learning, what does it mean when someone says Maslow before Bloom? So we're going to ask this question because it's not just a belief. According to research, when we focus on the basic needs of students and their psychological needs, students perform better. They will do almost anything to make sure that they succeed because they believe that they belong in the classroom. This is what it gave me. It gave me the hierarchy of needs for students, like their basic physical needs, the safety needs, love and belongingness needs, self-esteem needs, I would say self-worth in this situation as well, and self-actualization. We want to get students to a place where they realize that their personal potential, self-fulfillment, and seeking personal growth and peak experiences. In other words, they are self-learners. They know they can get information and content and knowledge from the teacher. They know they can use those skills and those standards to improve themselves, and they believe that they can. That is where we want to get students. Then we can integrate knowledge, comprehension, application, analysis, synthesis, and evaluation. So we're going to focus on these things for the beginning of the school year. It doesn't mean you're not going to integrate knowledge, comprehension, application, analysis, synthesis, and evaluation. What it does mean is that when students can do this, they can get to the other part of learning. It is really nice if you can get ChatGPT to slow down. One of the things that I found is when I first started using ChatGPT and I just gave it a prompt, it would just spit out a bunch of information. And that can be overwhelming for anyone. Now, if you want to sit and read it, great, it works well. This is what I have decided to do is I'm going to give ChatGPT a prompt this time. Describe Maslow's hierarchy of needs based on the science of learning, supportive relationships. So I'm only going to focus on supportive relationships. At this time, we are not focused on Bloom's taxonomy. I'm telling you what I don't want it to add. Because it's in this chat, it might want to integrate all of that. During this example, ask me questions and let me be part of the conversation with you. Do not give me what you think I should do. Let me know you understand. And now it's talking to me. Now it's giving me some prompt questions, but I still think it's too many. So this is too many questions at once. One thing at a time. Now it's giving me some prompt questions, but so we can chat. Sometimes you got to get it to slow down. So let's see if it'll actually do that, because I like everything that it gave me. Perfect. Look at this. It tells me that it understands physiological needs. Do you ever think about when a student comes to school, if they're hungry, if they slept in their car last night, if they even got sleep last night? Because if that didn't happen, students are not going to learn. So this is really nice that ChatGPT even prompted me. I wasn't even thinking of that. And I say this because I once had a student that usually would eat breakfast at home, but the one time the student didn't eat breakfast at home, went to the cafeteria, asked for breakfast, and unfortunately, the person that was serving the food said, "Oh, you don't have any money on your account. You can't get breakfast." And the student actually knew to come to me. I was the principal at that time. I actually went to the teacher, then the teacher and the student came to me and just was like, "I'm hungry." And if we couldn't have met that need, that student wasn't going to learn that day. That was a learning experience for the person that was serving students, just didn't know that we don't tell students no when they're hungry. The person that was serving students didn't realize that that was very important. We created some training around what we need to do for students. So let's look at this question. In your experience, how do schools typically ensure students' psychological needs are met? Have you implemented any specific programs or initiatives in your school? I don't like this question because I want it to focus on classroom. And so now let's do this. How do you ensure that students' basic psychological needs are met within your classroom? For instance, do you allow snacks or water breaks, or have any strategies to accommodate tired students? You as the teacher can answer that. We can move on and say, what about the next two hierarchy? Of course, I'm spelling that wrong. Okay, so I like it giving me these two. How do you create a safe and secure environment in your classroom? Are there specific routines or practices you implement to ensure students feel both physically and emotionally safe? If you are a new teacher, maybe even a veteran teacher, we can either not know, start to forget, or get into our own routines. Every year you get a new group of students. Their needs are different than the previous year's students. I would implore you to come up with some activities and routines for those students and have conversations with students and making them or allowing them to feel like they can say, "I am tired." You know what? You can go I'm going to set a timer. You can go in the back of the room, take a 5-minute nap. It might be 6, 7, or 8 if you allowed it. But you would be surprised if a student is really tired, they can fall asleep. They can fall asleep and feel refreshed after 5 to 10 minutes because they're not going to learn if they're really exhausted. Then you can also chat. What you can do with ChatGPT is to ask it to give me 2 examples of what I can do to allow students to feel this. Like, so you can say, you grab this one, copy it, throw it in here, use this, and give me 3 examples or strategies I can do for my, we'll say, 6th grade classroom. When you're prompting, you want to give it the environment. Like, what type of classroom is it? Is it a grade classroom? Is it a content classroom? Things like that. So let's see what it'll give us in this situation. Establish classroom rules and routines. At the beginning of the year, collaboratively create a set of classroom rules with your students. Ensure these rules are clear, fair, and consistently enforced. Regularly review these rules and routines to reinforce expectations. I like this. Create a welcoming and inclusive atmosphere. Greet students. Students like to be called by their actual name and not the name you make up for them because you couldn't pronounce it. Figure out how to pronounce it. And then implement some emotional well-being strategies. Now, I actually realize that social emotional learning can be a trigger word in many districts around the country. Just implement activities, just say it like that, that will allow students to feel welcomed. Like, if they are having a moment in the morning where there are 5 students in the morning that were at recess or right before school and they seem to be worked up, you can do a restorative circle. Get kids facing each other and let students one by one say, How can I help you feel like we can move forward in the classroom today? What is on your mind that is stopping you from learning? That is a great strategy. And you can ask ChatGPT to help you with those strategies. And then we can go back to this one and we can say, give me, let's read it. Building supportive relationship in the classroom is key to fostering a sense of belonging. We can throw this back in, use this, and give me two to three strategies, ideas for the beginning of the school year. Now, I'm aware that this could still be a lot. You can say, break it down where it's so simple that students in the classroom can take this information. Like, what is the activity to engage them? So, look, icebreakers, establish a classroom culture of respect and kindness, regular community building circles or meetings. The second one, respect and kindness. I once went to the Ron Clark Academy, and one of the things that they do is when students engage in wanting to interject or have a classroom conversation, they don't just raise their hand, they stand up and hold their hand out with respect, like, this is the information that I'm giving you. And if someone else stands up at the same time, one of the students will pause and sit down. But the student that stands up and still is speaking will, at the end of their comment, say, I want to give the floor to Jimmy. I want to give the floor to Enrique. I want to give the floor to Isabel. That way, someone else doesn't jump in and interject. There is something powerful about that. And if you haven't gone to Ron Clark, don't know what I'm talking about, do a little research. And you can even ask ChatGPT to help you with that. It is profound when you can get students to respect each other and the voice. I really appreciated what Michelle said. I really appreciate what Elsie said. And I would like to add, you can get kids in that environment. What an environment of learning that would be. I added two new questions to ChatGPT. Why is it important to integrate Maslow's hierarchy of needs before learning can occur? What does the science of learning say about this particular topic? It is going to spit out a lot of information. You can ask it to slow down if you want by saying, ask me what my beliefs are first, and then question me so that I can be a part of the conversation. You can do that. But in this situation, I just wanted to just spit out all this information. This is what I will call research because it's giving me some information and it's telling me importance of integrating Maslow's hierarchy of needs. It's giving you the psychological needs, the safety needs, the emotional well-being, and it's also integrating this from a science of learning perspective. Tell me the science of learning perspective, because I can see that it integrated it. And it even says, if you look, the science of learning supports this approach by emphasizing the interconnectedness of well-being and cognitive development. And I'm going to copy this and say, use this. Now you can put it in quotes, but use this. So the science of learning perspective. And I love this. There's a cognitive load and stress, explanation, science, insight, stress and anxiety. If we don't deal with the stress and anxiety, when cortisol levels are high, students could possibly get to a point where their amygdala, the part of the brain can get in the middle of the brain that gets hijacked. This is the place where it's in the brain, right above the brain stem. And the only thing students can do is to just be safe. Like, they can't do anything else. They just need to figure out how to be safe. So learning is not going to happen. And if you haven't seen the movie Inside Out, the second one, you need to really see it because anxiety is a trip. And emotional regulation and learning. Emotional regulation is essential for maintaining focus and motivation. So if they can't manage their emotions, they elope, they're upset, something new is happening, they're like, oh my gosh, it's too much, anxiety. We need to be able to bring students out of that and talk them through that. And then motivation and engagement, intrinsic motivation and engagement are crucial for deep learning. And then science insight, the neuroplasticity and positive learning environments. Explanation, the brain's ability to adapt and form new neural connections, meaning they can take information in and then use it in other situations. And why integrate Maslow's hierarchy of needs. I will put this in a PDF so you can have it as well, and use ChatGPT to help support you and give you ideas on what you can do in the classroom. Let me know what your classroom looks like at the beginning of the year in the comments. Let me know what videos you'd like me to talk about, especially when it comes to supporting the needs of students and how we can get them to learn exponentially and feel safe in the classroom. Thank you so much for watching. Make sure you subscribe, like, and comment, and come back often.